Welcome to The Explainer. For decades, doctors have been chasing this holy grail, finding diseases at their absolute earliest stages. Well, today we're going to talk about a technology that isn't just an improvement, it's a technology that could literally revolutionize how we see inside the human body.
So just imagine for a second, what if we could find cancer right after it starts to spread when the little deposit is no bigger than the tip of a pencil? I mean, finding it that small, way before any of our current tech could ever see it. That's the dream, right? Catching it at its most treatable stage.
And look, this isn't just some small step forward. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how we do diagnostics. The tech is called Ferumoxtran 10, or as it's more commonly known, Nano-MRI. And its story, from the lab to where it is now, well, it's a wild ride of brilliance, major setbacks, and some serious dedication.
Okay, so first, let's really get a handle on the problem here. It's something that has stumped doctors for decades. How do you find those tiny, hidden cancer metastases, especially when they're hiding out in the lymph nodes?
Right now, our best tools, PET CT scans, standard MRIs, they have one major weakness. They're basically just looking for size. They can only flag a lymph node if it's already swollen or enlarged. But here's the thing, cancer is incredibly sneaky. It can set up shop and start growing inside a perfectly normal-sized lymph node, which means it's totally invisible to our current scans.
So how in the world does Nano-MRI find these threats that everyone else misses? Well, the way it works is, it's actually beautiful in its simplicity. And the best part, it works with the body's own natural systems.
So at the core of all this is Ferumoxtran 10. And let's be clear, it's not a drug. It's a special kind of MRI contrast agent. It's made of these super tiny, biodegradable iron nanoparticles that are all wrapped up in a little sugar coating. And that sugar coating, well, it's basically irresistible to a certain kind of immune cell.
Okay, so here's the play-by-play. The patient gets these nanoparticles through a slow IV drip. Then, over the next day or so, the body's cleanup crew, these cells called macrophages, they see those sugar-coated iron bits and just gobble them right up. And then the macrophages just do their normal job, which is to patrol the whole lymphatic system looking for trouble. As they fill up healthy lymph nodes, they bring all that iron with them. Now, on an MRI scan, iron messes with the magnetic signal. So any tissue packed with it just turns black.
And this is where the magic happens. See, when a cancerous tumor gets into a lymph node, it messes up the whole internal structure. There's just no room for our little iron-filled macrophages to get in. So what happens? The cancerous areas can't absorb the iron, and they stay white or gray on the scan. It all boils down to this incredibly simple but powerful rule. White is malignant, black is normal. Suddenly, doctors can spot cancer based on what the cells are doing, not just how big the lymph node is. It's a total game changer.
And this simple principle leads to just a massive leap in how accurate we can be. And when you see the numbers, they're honestly pretty remarkable.
Just look at this. The difference is staggering. A major analysis of a bunch of studies showed that conventional scans, they have a sensitivity of only about 34%. Think about that. That means they're missing 2/3 of these metastases. But Nano-MRI, it hits a sensitivity of 88%. It's finding the cancer that other methods are completely blind to.
And it's not just about finding the cancer. It's also about being sure when it's not there. The specificity is 96%. That's incredibly high. It means that when Nano-MRI shows a lymph node is black and healthy, you can be almost certain that it is healthy. For doctors and patients, that kind of confidence is huge. It helps avoid all that anxiety and all those extra procedures that come from false alarms.
And you know what? This isn't just for one kind of cancer. Because we're tracking these macrophage cells, this tool is useful all over medicine. In neurology, for example, it can spot active inflammation and multiple sclerosis way earlier than normal scans. In cardiology, it's a super safe way to light up blood vessels and can even spot those unstable plaques that are basically ticking time bombs for a heart attack.
But, as you might have guessed, the story of this technology wasn't just a smooth, straight line. Nope, it hit a massive roadblock, one that almost stopped the whole thing dead in its tracks.
So get this. After all these incredible results back in the early 2000s, the company making it just pulled its application for European approval in 2009. Poof, the agent was gone, just vanished from the market. For years, you couldn't get it, but thankfully, a really dedicated team at Radboud University Medical Center in the Netherlands refused to let it die. They believed in it so much, they got the rights and started making it themselves just for research. And now? After a brand new, successful Phase 3 trial, it's finally on track for full market approval in Europe, expected in late 2026.
And this comeback has totally confirmed what we already knew. It has an amazing safety profile. In one study of over 300 patients, more than 97% had zero side effects. None. And the tiny fraction that did? We're talking about 2.6% of patients, and all they had were really mild things, like a little bit of back pain or nausea that went away super quickly.
So now that its safety and crazy high accuracy are locked in, Ferumoxtran 10 is really opening the door to a whole new future. A future of medicine that's more precise, way less invasive, and just plain more effective.
And this is the part that really matters for patients. Think about it. Instead of these huge, invasive surgeries where they take out dozens of lymph nodes just in case, surgeons can now go in and remove only the 1 or 2 that are actually affected. Radiotherapists can blast those tiny micrometastases with targeted radiation, leaving healthy tissue alone. I mean, this all adds up to better outcomes, fewer nasty complications, and frankly, huge cost savings for the healthcare system.
And believe it or not, the tech is only going to get better from here. When you combine this stuff with the next generation of super powerful MRI scanners, researchers think we'll soon be able to see metastases that are even smaller than a millimeter. They're even talking about a future where we could use this to spot the very first signs of diseases like dementia long before any symptoms appear. It's just wow.
But here's the thing. A tool this powerful doesn't just show up and everything's magically better. We can't just sit around and wait for it to be approved. It demands that the entire medical community starts getting ready, right now.
Yeah, to really squeeze every bit of potential out of this technology, we need a plan. And the source material for this explainer actually calls for creating a big, multidisciplinary think tank to get the ball rolling now, way before this thing hits the general market. And we're not just talking about radiologists. This is about getting everyone in a room together. Oncologists, neurologists, surgeons, health economists, you name it, to create a real blueprint for the future. They'd figure out the best protocols for different cancers, the best way to weave this into daily clinical work, and even calculate the cost savings, all to make sure that the maximum number of patients can get access to this kind of game-changing early detection.
So, you see, Ferumoxtran 10 is so much more than a simple contrast agent. It's a brand new lens to look at human health, one that lets us see disease earlier and with more clarity than we ever thought possible. This revolution in diagnostics is coming. The work to prepare for its arrival starts today.